What in the name of heaven is going on?
Hey, in this video, we're going to take a very close look at the pilot episode of Knight Rider with lots of goofs and a bit of trivia you may not have known before. Like, who is that guy driving the car? And what is that coming out of KITT's gas tank? Before we get started though, let me just say, I love Knight Rider. I loved it growing up and I still do. It's probably why I bought my black 95 Trans Am. Yeah, the year's not the same, but I feel like it's just a modified version of KITT.
Good heavens, and I thought Michael was difficult.
I'm still waiting for it to talk to me though.
We aren't speaking.
In the demolition scene, a kid hitches a ride with Michael Knight after it's too late to drop the kid off, because they're right in the middle of the action.
What are you doing here? You're supposed to be with your mother.
This is much more fun.
What is this? Look at this.
So you can spot a stunt driver who is definitely not Michael Knight with a dummy replacing the kid riding alongside Michael Knight here. Notice that the kid is definitely shorter than Michael here, but his dummy replacement is just as tall as Michael is. Also in this scene, you can see what appears to be ramps enabling KITT to pop up on two wheels. If you look really closely, that is. On a trivia note, that's Charles Napier. He was the second voice of the Hulk, and he popped up on a lot of shows in the 70s and 80s, you know, like BJ and the Bear. I did a whole video on him Hulk fans might be interested in checking out. On a pilot episode, Michael is always talking to his boss Devon on a payphone, when future episodes show him talking to Devon inside KITT. In fact, he speaks to Devon inside KITT toward the end of this episode. Apparently nobody told him he could do that. You'd think KITT would have mentioned it. Now in the pilot, there's a super fun scene where two car thieves trying to steal KITT, and they manage to actually do that when Michael leaves the door open accidentally. Notice when KITT is spinning out, when he's got the two thieves in the car, something is coming out of the gas tank. I have to wonder if it was actually pretty lucky the car didn't explode in real life. This next goof, you really have to look really closely. As KITT pulls in, look at the bottom of the screen, and you can see somebody is driving the car. Only on Knight Rider would it freak me out seeing somebody driving a car when there's not supposed to be anybody in there. Now keep looking really close at the bottom. You can see his hand slowly go down at the very end. Now in the big finale, there's a pretty awesome scene where KITT jumps a big rig driven by Red West, who was Elvis Presley's bodyguard and close friend. West would end up not only being an actor, but also a successful songwriter in his lifetime. Well, when KITT jumps over Red's big rig, take a good look at the bottom of the car and compare it to this derby scene earlier in the show. Looks a little too much like the bottom of a plastic toy. It's too smooth and there's no detail of what should be underneath the car. I never noticed that when I was a kid though. Now one of the bad guys in the helicopter here is Lance Legal, the same guy that liked to chase the A-Team from time to time. He also had a thing for helicopters as he did some narration work on Airwolf, the show about the super advanced helicopter. By the way, if you didn't know it, the 80s was a time for super advanced everything. Besides Airwolf, there was the advanced helicopter Blue Thunder, super advanced motorcycle Street Hawk, which was like a motorcycle version of Knight Rider, except the motorcycle didn't talk. And then, of course, there was Automan, who was a computer-generated superhero. Now, backtracking just a little bit, Knight Rider was very similar to the 6 Million Armed Man, in that the hero almost dies at the beginning, and he gets sent to doctors to get rebuilt. Well, in Michael Knight's case, of course, his face is what gets rebuilt, completely revamped, so the crooks can't recognize him. The interesting thing is that the actor who played Steve Austin's boss on the 6 Million Armed Man, the one who proclaims we can rebuild him, is also the doctor who fixes up Michael Knight in the very first episode. Too bad he didn't stick around for more episodes. Another quinky dink is that Richard Anderson, Oscar, played a character named Sam Knight the year before on an episode of Charlie's Angels. It's things like that that just make you go, Here's another quick fact before we look at the biggest goof of the pilot. The actor Richard Basehart, who did the awesome opening narrative for the series, played Wilton Knight on the pilot. Wilton Knight, of course, is the man who created the foundation for law and government that Michael Knight worked for. What an epic voice he had for the Knight Rider intro.
Knight Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist.
Before Knight Rider, he was famous for Irwin Allen's Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea from 1964 to 68. Sadly, he died in 1984 before Knight Rider had even finished its original run. Before we get to the last biggest goof of the pilot, if you like to own the entire original series of Knight Rider on DVD or Blu-ray and help out the TV Crazy Man channel at the same time, I have a link in the description to Amazon to which you can get the series, which also allows me to get a small commission. Thanks. Now here's another goof that could easily slip by you if you weren't paying close attention. Towards the end of the episode, Michael Knight gets shot in the shoulder, but the funny thing is the crazy wound seems to move from one side to the other. I don't know, maybe Michael forgot which shoulder he got hit in. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look back at one of the biggest classics of the 1980s. Please subscribe to the TV Crazy Man channel, hit the bell, like, and leave a comment. Thanks, and have a great day.